Have you ever wondered how the small financial choices you make today could ripple through time, shaping the lives of your children and even your grandchildren? What if a single decision, seemingly insignificant, could be the difference between generational wealth and a cycle of struggle? Today, we're going on a unique journey. We're going to use AI to simulate 100 years of one family's financial history, from the post-war boom to the digital age, to uncover the hidden butterfly effects of their money choices. This isn't just about numbers. It's about the dreams, the sacrifices, and the legacy we leave behind. Prepare to see how a few dollars saved or a single investment made can compound into a multi-million-dollar fortune or vanish into thin air. Let's meet our family, the Harrisons. Our story begins in 1955 with grandfather Thomas Harrison, a factory worker with a steady job and a young family. The world is rebuilding, and optimism is in the air. Thomas earns a modest but stable income. He has two choices for his small savings: put it in a standard savings account, earning a safe but low interest rate, or take a small risk and invest in the burgeoning stock market, specifically in a handful of blue-chip companies that are building the new America. It feels like a gamble. The market is unfamiliar to many working-class families like his. The bank feels safe, tangible. What would you do? Thomas, after much hesitation, decides to split his savings. He puts half in the bank for emergencies and invests the other half, a mere $50 a month, into a diversified index fund. It doesn't seem like much, but this single decision is the first seed we'll watch grow over the next century. Fast forward to 1985. We meet Thomas's son, Michael Harrison. He's a college-educated office manager living in the era of big hair, neon lights, and Wall Street ambition. Thanks to his father's consistent, albeit small, investments, the family has a modest but helpful financial cushion. Michael is faced with a new set of choices. He and his wife want to buy their first home. Housing prices are rising, and they have two options: take on a massive mortgage for their dream house in a trendy suburb, stretching their budget to its absolute limit, or buy a smaller, more affordable home in a less popular but up-and-coming neighborhood. The pressure to keep up with the Joneses is immense. Their friends are all buying big. But Michael remembers his father's lessons about living below your means. They choose the smaller house. This frees up a significant portion of their monthly income. Instead of being house poor, they can now afford to max out their new 401k retirement plans, taking full advantage of their employer's matching contributions. They also decide to use a portion of their extra cash to aggressively pay down their mortgage, cutting years off the loan term. It feels less glamorous, but as our simulation will show, this disciplined approach to debt is the second critical catalyst in the Harrison family's financial journey. Simultaneously, Michael faces another modern dilemma: credit card debt. In the 80s, plastic money is becoming king. It's easy to swipe and forget. Michael racks up a few $1,000s in credit card debt on new electronics and a family vacation. He could just pay the minimum each month, which is what the credit card companies encourage. Or he could treat it like a 5-alarm fire and pay it off as quickly as possible. The interest rate is a staggering 18%. He chooses the latter, creating a strict budget and throwing every spare dollar at the debt until it's gone. This short-term sacrifice prevents thousands of dollars from being lost to interest over the years. It's a small battle, but winning it keeps their financial engine running efficiently without the drag of high-interest consumer debt. These two choices, resisting the urge for a bigger house and demolishing credit card debt, fortified the foundation his father had built, preparing the family for the next generational leap. Now let's jump to the present day and meet Emily Harrison, Michael's daughter and Thomas's granddaughter. Emily is a freelance graphic designer navigating the gig economy of the 2020s. Her financial world is vastly different from her father's and grandfather's. There's no company pension, no 401k match, just her own ingenuity. But she has an incredible advantage they never did, a substantial debt-free inheritance. The small, consistent investments Thomas started in the 50s, combined with Michael's disciplined savings and debt management in the 80s, have compounded over 70 years. The initial $50 a month has blossomed into a multi-million-dollar nest egg. Emily is now the steward of this generational wealth. Her choices will determine if this legacy continues to grow or if it ends with her. Emily faces her own unique set of financial crossroads. The world is whispering about crypto, NFTs, and high-risk tech stocks. The temptation to make a quick fortune is everywhere. She could gamble a large portion of her inheritance on these volatile assets, hoping to multiply it tenfold overnight. Or she could follow the family playbook, adopt a long-term diversified investment strategy, focusing on sustainable growth. She also wants to invest in herself. She considers spending a significant sum on a master's degree, but after careful analysis, she realizes that a series of specialized online courses and certifications in her field will provide a better return on investment for a fraction of the cost. She chooses skills over a traditional degree. This decision not only saves her money, but also allows her to increase her earning potential much faster in the flexible world of freelance work. She invests in her business, her skills, and in the same type of low-cost index funds her grandfather trusted decades ago. So, let's pull back and look at the 100-year simulation results. The AI model shows us the power of compounding in breathtaking detail. Grandfather Thomas's initial $50 monthly investment, a tiny fraction of his income, grew through decades of market ups and downs. If he had chosen the safe savings account instead, the final amount would have been less than 10% of what it became. It would have barely kept up with inflation. That one decision was the difference between a small pot of money and the seed of a fortune. Then came Michael's contribution. Our simulation shows a fascinating alternate reality. What if Michael had bought the bigger house? The AI calculates that the higher mortgage payments, property taxes, and maintenance costs would have eaten up almost all of their discretionary income. They would have been unable to max out their 401ks or pay down their mortgage early. The result? By the time Emily inherited, the family's net worth would have been nearly 60% lower. The dream house would have cost them over $1 million in future wealth. His decision to stay modest wasn't just about saving a few $100s a month. It was about protecting the compounding machine his father had started. It preserved the momentum. And what about Emily? The simulation shows that if she had gambled on speculative assets, there was an 85% probability she would have lost over half of the inheritance within a decade. The family fortune, built over 70 years of discipline, could have been erased by a few poor choices driven by hype and the fear of missing out. Instead, her decision to invest in her skills and stick to a proven, long-term strategy not only preserved the wealth, but set it on a trajectory to continue growing for the next generation. She didn't just inherit money, she inherited a mindset, and that was the most valuable asset of all. Looking at this 100-year journey, the lesson becomes crystal clear. Building lasting wealth isn't about one single brilliant move. It's not about timing the market perfectly or finding the next get-rich-quick scheme. It's about the compounding effect of small, wise decisions made consistently over a very long time. It's about Thomas choosing to invest instead of just save. It's about Michael choosing financial freedom over a bigger house. It's about Emily choosing to build skills and continue a disciplined strategy rather than gambling it all away. Each generation faced different challenges and different opportunities, but the principles remained the same. Live below your means, avoid high-interest debt, invest consistently for the long term, and value knowledge. The Harrison story is a fictional simulation, but the principles are real. The choices you make today with your money, no matter how small they seem, are planting seeds for a future you may not even see. You are the first generation of your own 100-year plan. What will your legacy be? Thank you so much for joining me on this financial journey through time. I hope it gave you a new perspective on the power of your own financial choices. If you found this insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of personal finance. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one small financial decision you're making today for your future self? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.